Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the latest in FundForum Leaders Insights. I'm absolutely delighted today to welcome Michel Finzi, who is Global Head of Product Delivery and Training for Enfusion, coming all the way from New York City. Michel, hello.
Hello, Jen. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. I'm great. So let's kick off some questions. So tell me, what were some of the key lessons learned from the last 15 months about the role of technology playing in meeting new and emerging needs?
Well, the last 15 months have been unique, to say the least. So I think one of the sort of lessons learned is that many firms in the asset management and financial sector reasonably discovered that their technology stack may not have been sufficiently fit for purpose. And while steps had been taken to start embracing digital transformation in different proportions, the length and the sudden onset of the pandemic in particular accentuated the need for them to develop strategies to accelerate this effort. Many who'd taken sufficient steps to modernize their technology managed to get through, had started taking initial steps to get through updating some of their technology and reconsidering how they operate their business. Got through it thanks to a lot of heroics from some of their IT and operations staff. And if anything, it's certainly taken a trend that had started and accelerated it. Many of the firms, still compete with, operate their business with a cost basis that still might be too high, whether it's based on fee compression, active to passive migration, the growth of private markets in general. And so a lot of firms are trying to figure out how best to contend with and how to set up their technology in order to be able to meet their future needs. I'd say if this happened 7 to 10 years ago, the situation would have been a lot different, probably worse. Nonetheless, there's still an impact felt by a lot of institutions, especially in the first 180, 240 days.
Yeah, sure. So with that, how can multi-tenant SaaS solutions help asset managers navigate this normal post-COVID? Well, we're still in it, aren't we?
Yes, well, so multi-tenant SaaS, which inherently means cloud native, offer clients a number of really important advantages. For example, zero technology footprint. The question as to where you run the iron and update the iron that you operate your business with every day. Implied in the underlying design of any SaaS and multi-tenant platform lies the data management design, which is everything. So consider having all functional areas within a platform powered by a common and unified data source. This helps to ensure that everyone is operating from the same information and helps everyone effectively in the organization row in the same direction.
It always helps, doesn't it? So what risks do you think that asset managers face if they don't embrace this digital infrastructure? And do you see any differences by region?
Well, I'd say I would make a couple of other points on SaaS, and that's the ability to upgrade. And these relate to this. I mean, the ability to upgrade and stay very constant and receive new innovation and enhancement is critically important, as well as dealing with data information, data and information security, as well as resilience, scalability, and the ability to tie in operational aspects of their business. As it relates to different types of risks, there's a couple of them. I mean, there's risks and then there's sort of regional differences. So let's talk about risks. Some of them, one of the risks is less flexibility and adaptability. Contending with the growth in more and more and different forms of data, creates a potential problem of data fragmentation, which is really central to a lot of organizations' mind. And that flexibility and adaptability is really key because absent, good framework for dealing with this, it becomes really difficult to scale and expand. For example, when branching off to consider how to offer new types of investment products, expanding into new regions, or soliciting the business of new client segments, or contend with the ever evolving regulatory landscape. From a regional perspective, these things can be exacerbated. There's always regional nuances that might exist. But one thing that's really interesting, so let's just take, for example, compliance. It used to be that there were one or two jurisdictions that sort of led the way. Now in the information age, as good principles and practices from compliance and regulation present themselves, the rest of the world adapts and embraces, or amends them for their own particular constructs, but makes them sort of embraces some of these best practices. So having the ability to contend with that can come fast and furious. And so the choice of who the provider that you use or who you partner with, what you do internally, is extraordinarily important. And SaaS multi-tenant delivery and inherently cloud native is a great way to stay abreast and be able to adapt to this going forward.
Yeah, sure. So kind of rounding up then, what are the infrastructure challenges that you see the asset management industry facing in the next 2 to 5 years, and how can those managers prepare for that now?
Well, in thinking about infrastructure challenges, one you can think about some of the big cross currents, and there's many that that the asset management industry needs to contend with. So that is contending with, I should say. So, for example, there are a very large generational transfer of wealth from Gen X to Gen Y and Gen Z is resulting in the desire for more and different personalized investment products, personalized benchmarks, emphasis on ESG, sustainability, D&I, and other general preferences of the generation, or for that matter, even attending to how services are consumed with mobility and mobility and transparency. All in all, data and data management is critical enabling all these needs. Further, client retention, and to stave off what we refer to as generational drift, where the inability of an asset manager to deliver those types of investment products desired by their clients may result in client loss or AUM flight, needs to be contended with. So communicating with clients is important. Having the flexibility to adapt and create new investment products are all very center stage. And for those firms that are looking to grow their business, understanding the underlying infrastructure and picking partners that can contend with that and help them get there for things they're thinking about, things they're contemplating, and potentially even moves that they haven't even thought of that they need to make becomes extraordinarily important. Two other examples worth citing might be the advent of tokenized investment products, and so
Yes.
the proliferation of blockchain and distributed ledgers, or expanding into servicing Chinese clients or making investments in China, for example.
Yeah. Well, Michel, that's incredibly interesting, and thank you for giving us your leaders' insights. So we will round off for today, but thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.